Congratulations on doing a show.
Yes,
Yeah.
very excited, very nervous.
Now we would like to know how it started, how do you come up with the concept and what to do for the show and all that kind of stuff. The whole story, come on.
The whole story. Well, I got accepted to in the Boston Conservatory in Boston. And it's a master's program, it's a master's in musical theater, it's new, so I'm pretty excited about that. I had to figure out how to, raise funds for school, so I went through like every different option I can find. I went through applying for scholarships, for study grants, for just like writing to like individual foundations, and I also turned to crowdfunding, which is what this show is part of.
Yeah.
So I figured, because when I was doing Little Voice, Tracy and Adrian were really, really helpful. They kind of sponsored tickets for the people who pledged on my crowdfunding site. And on top of that, these people who pledge also get a ticket to my show, which is the Mina Kaye show. So that's how it all came about.
Right.
And I thought I might as well do like a farewell concert anyway, since I'm leaving, and I want to do like a final farewell before I leave, so I thought this would be a great idea.
Well, what can we look forward to in this show? Is this like a greatest hits, Mina Kaye greatest hits or sorts?
It's a combination of different things. So it's a combination of, I'm doing diva impersonations like I did in Little Voice. I'm also doing a mashup of different songs, and I'm doing some of obscure and familiar show tunes, and there's a lot of different things. Talk about, how I got started, what was life in LaSalle like, and then I would just like throw in different songs. I have friends from LaSalle who will be performing with me, so I don't want to give too much away, but that's part of the show, and I'll explain in the show more about that. But yes, there will be special guest performances.
Hey, how long is that show?
The whole show, it's very informal, it's very casual, laid back, chill, at Tab, where people buy drinks, and it's kind of like, how like bands have like sets, so it'll be about a 2-hour show, or 1 hour 45 minutes, but with like 2 breaks in between the show, so it's,
Tell us about your adventure with cupcakes.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
So I only started baking last year, honestly. I started off doing it as a hobby, and then people started, buying it from me. This was like way before I even got accepted into grad school. This is like, oh my gosh, your cupcakes are so cute. Can you do this theme for me? Can you do that theme? And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And then eventually my friends told their friends, and then eventually I got orders. So I started making a small business out of it. Nothing commercial or anything. It's just like I only take like,
what you can manage.
Yeah, very few orders at a time, and it's called Broadway Baby Cakes. Dramatically fabulous for every occasion. So that's the theme of it. It's like cool. But then the support I got was so overwhelming. There were like over 100 or probably close to 100 people pledging the $100 pledges, which means I would have to bake 100 boxes of cupcakes. So that's like 12 cupcakes in a box. Everyone gave me their orders, and a lot of the ingredients require buttermilk, especially the very popular Harry Potter butterbeer cupcakes. That's like the most popular flavor. I don't think it's anywhere in Singapore, only by Broadway Baby Cakes. So that requires buttermilk. And I think my friend made a point. He said it was the Hari Raya season at the time, or it still is. It still is, yeah. So I think a lot of our Malay friends are busy stocking up with baking supplies and stuff like that. So buttermilk was out in like 5 different supermarkets that I went to. So I was freaking out. I was like, what's going on?
But you got them.
I got them eventually.
What got you into musical theater in the first place?
What got me into musical theater? Well, I've always wanted to perform since I was 6. It's always been a hobby. It's always been what I love to do. I was more of a copycat when I was a kid. I didn't really know whether I preferred singing better or I preferred acting. I started off with acting. I took acting classes. I was in like the drama club and stuff like that, like your regular childhood, basically. Your mom signs you up for like ballet and piano and all that stuff. So I went through all of that, but I couldn't figure out what I liked doing. So at different stages of my life, I wanted to be different things. I've always wanted to be an actor, but then it was in my my later childhood into my teen years that I wanted to be a singer as well. And then I started doing all these amateur singing competitions that I took part in. I was like a huge Disney Channel fan. I was into like Hilary Duff and like Lizzie McGuire and all that. When I was a teenager.
Started your singing with the copying. And
yeah, I was mainly
somehow
copying.
You got something from that.
Yeah, I was copying like cartoons.
Yeah.
I was copying voices of Animaniacs, of Tiny Toons, like cartoons in that era.
And then you got the proper training in La Salle.
And I got my professional training at La Salle. So prior to La Salle, everything was just like
You
amateur.
were based in the States for a while, and then you came back to Singapore to do La Salle. So why come to Singapore?
This family was living in the States. I did my first degree in early childhood education, but then I figured out, when I was teaching children, I was teaching drama and I was teaching, creative stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to be teaching. I want to be doing this. I want to be on stage. So I thought, okay, you know what? Just give it a shot. Because when you're exposed to so many talented people, you think, nah, I don't stand a chance. You go see like musicals, especially on Broadway, or like, or like in the West End. I've never been to London at the time, but I was exposed to Broadway. I was exposed to musicals, and looking at these people, I'm like, wow, they're like superhumans. I don't think I can ever do that. So, and I never actually trained in dance because I quit ballet at like 8. Which I regret.
You mentioned your early heroes as Hilary Duff and
dear.
Lindsay Lohan. Well, not heroes, but like they inspired you to go into singing and acting.
Yeah.
But like, are there? How did you get exposed into musical theatre then?
Well,
or is it only that you got into it when you started learning doing musicals yourself?
Not really. I mean, I was exposed to movie musicals like Annie, Sound of Music, Grease. I think my first real Broadway experience or theater experience was West Side Story. I think it was just like and then I saw Into the Woods, which I fell in love with, and Bernadette Peters, bless her, I love her. She is like my musical theater idol. Like I love her, and I want to perform with her so bad. So I got to see her perform live in a Little Night Music with Elena
You took a picture with her.
I did. It was like surreal. It's like, oh my gosh. I auditioned for different schools in Canada and America, but I got rejected. My apparently wasn't good enough. So I was devastated. Came back to Singapore to stay with my mom just to and at the time, Tiffany Wrightson was my tap teacher, and she told me that she was teaching tap at La Salle. And she's like, hey, why don't you try out for La Salle? There's a musical theater program. Why are you applying for an acting program? Because you like musical theater. So I'm like, what musical? What's La Salle? I had no idea it even existed. So I had to do my research, and then the training I got there was just world class. It was amazing, like unbelievable. So I'm so glad, because it was through La Salle that I got all what I had done today.
Now, you didn't always wanted to do this as a job because you did the early childhood degree.
I've always wanted to do this. That was more of like a sidetrack. That was more of like
like everybody else.
more of like I just didn't have the confidence to, because it was just me being intimidated with the real world.
Now, tell us a little bit about your rehearsal process for this show.
Rehearsal process, that's pretty chilled. I'm having a rehearsal in half an hour with Wenfu and Derek. So we're just going to run some numbers that need a bit of piecing together. There's some mashups.
We get to see a little bit of that?
A little bit, but not too much, because I don't want to give it away.
Alright.
So, what can we expect at this show? Is like a fun?
Oh yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of laughter, a lot of parodies.
Yeah. Will we get to see like the more intimate side of Mina?
I guess, I don't know, maybe. I mean, you'll be able to talk to me. It will be up close and personal, because the space is very, very small.
Right. So that's that. Thanks for speaking to us.
No worries.
Thank you.
Is sitting alone in your room. Come hear the music play. Come taste the wine. Come hear the band. Mr. Bobby Food. Come blow your horn. Stop it to make to breathe. Just start in a musical into the woods. They sing this number every night and day. Just out there. So I wrote this song with the intention for the whole chorus to tear. And the night we open up to see this, I play someone just as young as I was. Joseph mate. Your character is 48. Then the time came. Na na